Well, there's been some signings over the last, 4 days? So starting on the 17th and right up until today. And we're going to be seeing these going on, I would think, over the next few as well. Now, for general managers, they have to keep track of how many contracts they have. You can have a majority, or maximum, I should say, of 50 contracts on the books at any one given point in time. But NCAA signings, you know what? It's risk free for the most part. Other than that part of you can only have so many on the reserve list and so many on the actual contract list, right? So with all the uncertainty out there, you can still sign guys because we're still looking ahead to next season and all that. Colton Pullman signs with the Calgary Flames today. He's a defenseman, 24 years of age. He is the younger brother of Tucker Pullman. So he has been signed by Calgary, coming out of North Dakota. University, I should say, of North Dakota. 31 games played this year, 4 goals, 13 assists, 17 points. And again, you can look at this and go, bloodlines. Maybe the guy is going to be something, right? They also signed Connor Mackey, another defenseman, 23 years of age. So Calgary, who have seen a lot of their young defensemen graduating to NHL level, and there are a couple of defensemen on their roster who may be on their way out, and Giordano's not going to last forever. So if you add more prospects to that list, you're definitely helping out your overall team depth. And the fact these guys are 23, 24 is part of what makes the NCAA players attractive. They're already physically ready to play at the National Hockey League level if they're ever going to be. And so you don't have to worry about these spindly 18-year-olds when you're bringing in somebody who's 23. Played for Minnesota State University, Mankato. 36 games played, 7 goals, 17 assists, 24 points for Mackey. So that's 2 guys you pick up, undrafted, mid-20s, good to go. Austin Rushov, picked up as a right winger, 22 years of age by the New York Rangers, played for Western Michigan University. 36 games played, 12 goals, 14 assists, 26 points. So again, with these players, the interesting thing is that, I was going through both elite prospects and hockey prospect and all this, and these older players being signed out of university, there's very little data on them other than just the basics. This means that general managers are doing their due diligence. They send their scouts. Their scouts say, "Hey, pick this guy up." Maybe a bidding war takes place, and this is how it ends up turning out. So the Rangers, who have used the NCAA route before, they're using it here. And of course, there's one that's not on the board that they signed before that I had in the News of the Day video. Patrick Harper, center, 21 years of age. He's not a draft pick, or he's not an undrafted prospect. He's a draft pick. And what's interesting is he's drafted in the 5th round in 2016, 138th overall. He's out of Boston University, 32 games played, 14 goals, 23 assists, 37 points. Okay. Underneath is Hugh McGing, who's a left wing / center. He's 21 years of age. He's drafted in 2018, 5th round, 138th overall. They were both drafted 138th overall, 2 years apart. They're both 21 years of age. Nothing weird about the 138th draft pick, 2 of them signing within 24 hours of each other. That's weird. Western Michigan University for McGing, 35 games, 13 goals, 22 assists, 35 points. And again, these are prospects now that have signed with the franchise. One thing you have to watch for is a lot of junior guys signing right now, or younger players signing, because if you go, I think it's 2 years out from your draft year, and you haven't signed, then you're a free agent. So if a team doesn't sign you within 2 years of drafting you, there's varying exemptions on there. But if you're in CHL and 2 years out from your draft year, you can go right back into the draft. Nate Soucis, and I'm guessing on that name, he's a left winger. 23 years of age, out of Pennsylvania State University. 34 games, 11 goals, 27 assists, 38 points. So again, Arizona, you got John Chayka. He always thinks outside the box. For all we know, this guy ends up playing next year and plays well. And again, 23 years of age, limited amount of time you got to wait for him to be ready to play. Mark Michaelich, and I listened to the name on this one, so it looks like Michaelis, and I'm guaranteeing it's not Michaelis. It's Michaelich, according to the play-by-play guy for Minnesota State. Left wing / center, 24 years of age, 31 games played at Minnesota State University Mankato, so same university as Connor Mackey, who went to Calgary. 31 games played, 20 goals, 24 assists, 44 points. Jim Benning takes a lot of flack. Some of it understandable, some of it not so much. When it comes to signing free agents, junior age or guys out of university, he has a pretty good track record. He does. And so I'm wondering if this is going to be a player that we may see playing for the Canucks next season. I'm not talking about regular. These guys are not going to be, most of them aren't going to end up being regulars, but may get a few games. These are the guys that come in at the end of the year, they play 5 or 6 games, and you're watching the game and you go, who the heck is this guy? And they're NCAA players that general managers bring in. They throw onto a roster, usually of a team that's not going to make the playoffs, just to get those 5, 6, maybe 10 games in, just to see what they've got. Is this guy going to be an NHL player? Is he not? Sometimes you never see them again. Sometimes they become regulars. William Lockwood, right wing, 21 years of age, and boy, oh boy. Canuck fans have talked for, is it a year that they've been talking about Lockwood's not going to sign in Vancouver? That's been the talk. Lockwood doesn't, and I'm not sure if it's that he didn't want to go or they didn't want him. He's a third-round draft pick from 2016, 64th overall in that draft. University of Michigan, 33 games, 9 goals, 14 assists, 23 points. Offensively, his numbers are down from last year. Last year, I believe he had 16 goals and 31 points. But he's still only 21 years of age. He's a forward, and the Canucks definitely need forwards. So Lockwood will be reporting, I would think, to Utica once we get everything up and rolling again. Eventually we will. I promise. I know how dark things look right now. I honestly have really cut back on how much I watch TV and how much news I'm consuming online right now. I'm trying to find as much other things to occupy my mind because I'm already doing what I can. We're already self-isolating. We're doing everything we can personally. So other than just, watching, you keep track of what's going on. But if you obsess on it, boy, oh boy, you're not going to sleep. So, and part of the reason that I'm late getting videos started today is Yvonne and I insisted on sleeping in a bit today and getting a good night's sleep. So, Lockwood, as I said, to Vancouver. We'll see whether or not he gets a few games with them next year or if he's a depth guy. I look to Adam Gaudette, and I look at Lockwood as kind of a Gaudette light. We'll see, right? Ryan McGregor, center, 21 years of age. He was originally drafted by the Maple Leafs, 2017. 6th-round draft pick, 172nd overall. Sarnia, 27 goals, 41 assists, 68 points in 52 games. Now, the one thing I will say is if he's put up 68 points in 52 games for Sarnia, that looks great. But at age 21, he's an overager. And when you see a guy who's older than the other kids on the team, having really good point totals, you have to take it with a grain of salt. So there's that part of it as well. We've certainly seen overagers get signed who had tremendous totals in the Ontario, Quebec, or Western League, and then it just doesn't translate at the pro level. But again, it's a signing that doesn't cost you anything, so that's kind of nice because all these guys are on entry-level contracts. Cole Smith signed by the Nashville Predators, left wing, 24 years of age. Again, you sign these guys out of NCAA, you're getting them for an entry-level price, and they're already men. You're not drafting kids out of this. University of North Dakota, 34 games, 11 goals, 7 assists, 18 points, and another player with the last name Smith going to Nashville. So there you go. Brandon Bureau, left winger, 22 years of age, out of Penn State University, going to Buffalo, 25 games, 10 goals, 15 assists, 25 points. So he's a year or two younger than a lot of the guys on the board. And here's hoping that he's able to light it up with Buffalo. Man, Buffalo needs some good news right now, don't they? The Sabres, you can't pick up enough guys right now to help really bring this together. They have the star players. It's the depth that's been the issue. Now, Boston fans kind of excited about this one, and I've already seen articles on how Jeremy Swayman and Tuukka Rask are the future of Boston goaltending. My answer to that is, well, I hope so. Because one problem I've had with Boston looking 5, 6, 7 years down the road is who's playing in net? Like, it's not going to be Halak. It's probably not going to be Rask 6 years from now. And I don't know that I've looked at this organization and seen anybody who can come up and necessarily be the next guy. So if Swayman's the next guy, drafted 2017, 4th round, 111th overall, excellent. Now, his numbers at the University of Maine, intimidating. I don't usually get into goals against, but we will here. 2.06 goals against per game. Save percentage of .939. So if he can bring anywhere near that talent level to Boston, Boston's got themselves a good one. So, again, all of these guys out of university seasons are over. Now they all get signed, right? Some of them earlier than others. Some of them foregoing their last year in university to sign with their pro team. So, for Swayman, we'll see whether or not he is the future of Boston goaltending. He may get a shot at it. I don't know about this year, but maybe the year after. Because Halak and Rask, you've got to think that's going to stay together for one more year. And then with Seattle coming in, that may change the whole picture altogether. They might be better off moving one or the other at the deadline next year. And again, that's something that once we know for sure what's going to happen, if this season in the NHL is going to get wiped out or what they're going to do with it. The NBA hasn't decided. The NHL hasn't decided. The NBA's already said that future seasons may very well get pushed back for good because of what we've seen happen here. So I don't think the NHL can, because again, you don't want to be playing the hockey, NHL playoffs in July. You just don't. You don't want the season to be starting in November. That just doesn't work. So whatever happens, Swayman's going to get his chance to be a Boston goaltender, I would think, in not this upcoming season, but the one after that. Nick Wolf. I like Wolf as a last name. I like the two F's as well. Defenseman, 23 years of age, out of the Minnesota Duluth. He goes to Boston as well. 33 games and 10 assists. And again, it's a free prospect. He's 23 years of age, and Boston has a good record of picking up guys out of NCAA. And again, as I said, we can definitely take a look at that. And NCAA signings, where they end up, and which ones end up being pretty good and which ones end up not panning out. So for Wolf, he gets added to the blue line depth of the Bruins. They have solid blue line depth in Boston. So it'll hurt a lot if Torrey Krug leaves. But Lauzon's emerged this year. If Vakanainen could make that next step, that'd be great. And there are still enough defensemen in Boston to keep things together, even without Chara and Krug, should they both end up being gone. Chara via retirement and Krug via free agency. And the last one, Cameron Lee, defenseman, 23 years of age, starting this whole thing. He's out of Western Michigan, 26 games, 3 goals, 18 assists, 21 points. So Pittsburgh, very smart when it comes to picking up players. We'll see whether or not Lee ends up being a player for them next season, or if he ends up in the American League. The one thing I'll say for Pittsburgh, Peter Lee was the first hockey card I ever had. Pittsburgh Penguin back in 1980, I believe, 81. Yeah, my first ever hockey card was Peter Lee. It was really banged up and somebody gave it to me. And so that's why I remember. It's the only reason I remember that card. And yeah, so I should have been a Penguins fan, right? It didn't end up happening. But, who knows what the future brings, right? Okay, there you go. So let me know what you guys think regarding these guys on the board. Which one's going to be a surprise? There are absolutely people watching these videos right now, somebody watching this video, who may very well know more regarding these players from having seen them live, seen them via local news, than what I can necessarily find readily online. So let me know which one of these guys you think is going to end up being a big surprise, and how you guys feel about the whole NCAA thing. I do sometimes think it gets overhyped, but again, you're picking up guys who are, NHL ready, they're men, and you're picking them up without giving anything up other than a contract and a slot. So one of those slots that you would give is like a reserve player or whatnot. But, it's pretty risk-free when you're signing most of these guys. Of course, in terms of draft picks, 4 of these guys are out of the draft. The rest, all free agents. So, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing right through. You just happened upon this video. And I look forward to the 139th draft picks getting signed, followed by the 140th, proving all general managers are colluding. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. We'll get through this. I'll talk to you again soon.